All right, man, peace. So for those of you brothers who follow the professional sport of boxing, you should be aware that Mr. Keith One-Time Thurman, aka Mr. Glass as I call him, is at it again with his injury-prone shenanigans. He's now claiming that he's had to have surgery performed on his left hand that will leave him basically incapacitated from being a professional boxer for the next 9 months, which to me will create the perfect timeline that will allow him to avoid Errol the Truth Spence, assuming that Errol Spence is able to be successful in his next bout this Saturday night, as well as future endeavors against Manny Pacquiao and presumably Terrence Crawford. So anyway, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
Listen, we can't have you sitting here with a cast on your hand and not ask you what's going on with you right now. You've talked about it openly. You've said that you've had surgery. What's been going on?
Yeah, so I had to have surgery about 2 weeks ago. They put some staples in, and really what they're trying to do.
They needed to put some staples over your damn mouth so that you could stop talking so much about what you claim you're trying to be in the world of boxing. Cease from speaking about real fighters like Errol Spence, Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, fighters who actually want to compete at the highest level against the best champions, when it's very clear, Keith One-Time Thurman, no disrespect to you, brother, but it's very obvious to me that you're looking for a couple of major paydays against the easiest fighters available before you go off into the sunset to go play your flute. It's very clear to me, nothing against you, but I don't think that you want that smoke with the real fighters in the division. You did what you had to do to get to the top, so I cannot take that away from you. You defeated Danny Garcia, you defeated Sean Porter, but I think that even you realize that there are certain guys that you do not want to get into the ring with, Errol Spence being one of them. And to be quite honest with you, I don't blame you, because you do not take it to the body very well at all. And Errol Spence is a devastating body puncher. Devastating body puncher.
Is fuse my bones together. That's what the surgical process is. It's going to take about 6 months to fully heal. And, I'm hoping to be back in the ring, back in action, about 9 months out.
That means that in 9 months, you're going to have another tune-up fight. So we'll see what happens. It could be anyone from Andre Berto to a rematch against Sean Porter, depending on where Sean Porter is at that time. Maybe even a rematch against Josecito Lopez. And that's the second fight that he'll probably be staging after the initial comeback fight. So what that basically means is no Errol Spence in the welterweight division for Keith One-Time Thurman, a.k.a. Mr. Glass.
Late May, early June. It's just pain and suffering from all the wear and tear of being a world-class athlete for 23 years.
When I see fighters that are constantly injury-prone and plagued like Keith Thurman, it tells me that he's not training enough outside of his fight camps. It also tells me that maybe he's just genetically predisposed to being injury-prone. Who knows? There are fighters who've had injury problems in the sport of boxing, especially with their hands. We know about Floyd Mayweather. Muhammad Ali also had a stretch where he had major issues with his hands. He stated that he was able to alleviate the problems that he had with his hands by changing his heavy bag. He realized that the heavy bag that he purchased was too hard, it was too firm on the exterior, also a little bit too heavy. He downsized on his heavy bag. He also changed his diet and started to eat predominantly vegetables and fish, and he stated that the arthritic condition in his knuckles went away. So is that an issue that Keith Thurman has? He claims that the problem that he had was structural and it had to be cured through surgery. We'll see what happens over the course of his career.
That sounds painful. I mean, that was going to be my question. When do you feel like you're gonna come back?
Yeah, from the surgery date. I mean, it's like having a baby. 9 months, man. I'm in it.
After 9 months, assuming that Errol Spence wins this fight this Saturday night, he will have defeated Sean Porter and most likely have fought Manny Pacquiao already and be sizing up Terrence Crawford or another major fighter in the welterweight division. Keith Thurman's first fight back after 9 months is going to be a tune-up fight, so there's no way in the world he's going to even consider fighting Errol Spence his first fight back.
Like a 9-month marker,
Right.
It's the countdown for me. I've been through so much with the elbow surgeries and then
Yes.
the inflammation that was in my hand. As an athlete, we suffer from time to time, and we just endure. We endure.
Yeah.
But how long had you been enduring this then, or was this something that happened at a specific time point?
Is the arthritic issue in my metacarpals and the left hand has been there for over a year and a half.
So you had it.
So how come you didn't have a procedure done on your left hand when you had the surgery on your elbow and killed two birds with one stone?
Manny Pacquiao fight?
I had it in the Manny Pacquiao fight. I had it in the Jose Chico Lopez fight.
Did it limit you in the Manny Pacquiao fight?
Obviously, this has not been my greatest year. I'm looking forward to coming back. It was exciting.
That wasn't a yes or a no. Put a number on it. To what extent do you think it limited you?
Yeah, Kate Abdo is trying to give you an excuse to make an excuse.
And don't lie.
At least 50%.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So you were compromised by 50% because of that left hand issue. And you stated to yourself, I'm not going to get surgery performed on this left hand. It's such a debilitating problem that I have, but I'm still not going to have a surgical procedure done. I'm going to wait until after the Manny Pacquiao fight and have something done so that I will have another excuse to avoid Errol Spence, whether I win or lose.
That's high.
All right, listen, we have got a big weekend ahead.
But anyway, that's basically it on that. If you follow sports for long enough, in various sports, no matter what they are, there are always athletes that come along that you say to yourself, had this person not been plagued by the injury bug, who knows what they could have been. And then there are other athletes that you look at and you say to yourself, there's just something missing with them. And Keith Thurman is a mix of the two. It's very clear and obvious to me that he realizes that he's not at the elite level of the welterweight division. No matter what he says or how good a game he talks, he knows that he's not Errol Spence. And I don't think that he believes that he truly can beat Terrence Crawford, even though I think that he would have a much better chance against Terrence Crawford than he would Errol Spence. Errol Spence is just too big, strong, powerful, and skilled for Keith Thurman. All across the board, he would defeat Keith, and he would hurt him very badly to the body. He'd probably stop Keith inside of 8 rounds because Keith does not take it well to the body at all. But we'll see what happens with Keith. Peace.